So I just finished 1 week in Geneva for Watches and Wonders 2024. This year was one of my favorite years, and it's not just because of the watches, but it's because of the people I got to spend time with. A lot of the people I only see once a year at this show, and it's an easy way to come together in our passion of horology and watches.
I think your short content was the best in the biz.
Oh, damn. Thank you so much. You heard that. You heard that here first.
On top of that, it was my dad's first time coming to Watches and Wonders. He's 71 years old, but he's been going to watch shows for over 40 years as he's been in business. He's the founder of our company, Cartier & Co., and I also got to go with my family, and it was a lot of fun. Today, I'm going to share my experience of the show from the perspective of both a authorized watch dealer at Cartier & Co., as well as a content creator. We got to see a lot of our own brands like Cartier, JLC, Vacheron, Grand Seiko, Zenith, and so on. And then there's a few brands I got to see that I'm not a dealer of, such as Tudor, which I had a lot of fun getting hands-on with the new Black Bay 58 GMT. So for me, this year, the show felt very safe. A lot of brands just introduced a new colorway or a new size, and what that did is it made it feel like those brands were holding back. Case in point, Rolex came out with the new GMT Master 2 with the black-gray color scheme and the green GMT hand. Now it's on the Jubilee bracelet. It was something that a lot of people were talking about. The good thing is that obviously there's a new colorway for people. Everyone expected the Coke bezel because of the whole patent leak and whatever, but what it does is that the brands that go above and beyond, like bring a new movement, bring a new case, bring a new collection, those brands tend to really shine when other brands are playing it very safe. And that's why the whole year felt very safe, because you saw that all around. So some things that really stood out to me, I'm just going to go off the list, no particular order. First one is Grand Seiko's SLGW003 White Birch. It's a time-only high-beat watch in an Evolution 9 case in titanium, now in a 38.6mm case. It's under 10mm thick, and it has a short lug-to-lug of 45mm. It has that beautiful white birch dial inspired by the white birch trees outside of Studio Suzuki Ishii. And the coolest thing is that it's a brand new movement, the 9SA4. It's similar to like the high beat movements that they introduced in the white birch with the new dual impulse escapement. And the cool thing about this is it's very similar to the Omi Watari movement in the sense that time only on the dial, you flip it over, there's a power reserve. But on this white birch version, when you wind the crown, there's a little wagtail shaped click. And the wagtail is a bird that's famous in the Morioka region. Basically, when you wind the crown, it looks like the wagtail is clicking and pecking on the white birch tree. We're so used to seeing Grand Seiko use symbolism with their dials and their movements, but now it's really cool to see like another kind of like an animation from the movement. So when you're winding the crown, you'll be able to hear that little audible noise. So I thought that was something that was really cool, and that watch is coming August 2024, priced at $10,700. It's definitely pricey compared to the other SBGY series, the ones in manual winding spring drive, but I don't doubt there will be people who enjoy it. Grand Seiko also came out with a lot of new dial colors and their other things like the Lion's Paw. They came out with a red dial. There's a new Evolution 9 Gembi Valley green dial and some stuff here and there, but out of everything I saw from Grand Seiko, SLGW003 was the one that really caught my attention. Now, let me talk about Tudor. I'm just going to get right into it. Tudor has been doing something really interesting for the last like 5+ years, and they've just been giving watch enthusiasts what they want. So although people were upset they didn't get the GMT Master 2 Coke bezel from Rolex, Tudor came out with the Black Bay 58 GMT with that Coke colorway. Now I got hands-on with it, and the sizing is great. 39mm case, under 13mm thick, and it has a master chronometer certified movement guaranteeing 0 to +5 seconds per day. It's hard to fault this watch because it's already hard enough to find an under 40mm flyer GMT watch, and especially from a known brand such as Tudor. It does everything right, even having a micro adjustment down in the clasp, and it comes on either bracelet or rubber strap. But I do have one critique about this watch, and it's probably the only major critique I'll make about any watch throughout the entire show. Obviously, one is the colorway, but that's not really a big deal. I'm just not a fan of gilt, which I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. The good thing about that one is that eventually Tudor will come out with a colorway that I do like, so that's an easy thing to fix, right? Number two, the thing that actually I wish was different is when I think of the Black Bay 58, like I have the 925 silver, I think about that 60-click bezel and how it's one of the best dive bezels in the whole industry right now. And so on this Black Bay 58 GMT, they put the 24-hour scale for a third time zone. And I know on the Tudor Black Bay GMT, they also did the same thing, but like in that Pepsi colorway. I would have preferred to have seen that 60-click diver bezel on the 58 GMT and still have that GMT hand but put it in red. Because to me, the ultimate travel watch is to have a diver GMT in one. Imagine you're going across country to a new time zone, you set the time on it, jump the hour, and then while you're on vacation, you jump in the water, maybe you're at the beach, and you can use your dive bezel to count up to 60 minutes. To me, that's way more practical and functional for what I like, and the only brand that's really done that in the last year was the Longines Hydro Conquest GMT. They did it in 41 and a new 43mm this year, and that watch is really exciting to me because you get all those functions in like the ultimate go anywhere, do anything watch. So that's the only thing I wish that Tudor's Black Bay 58 GMT had, is instead of 24-hour bezel, keep the 60-click bezel. Then that's like, I would definitely buy one, hands down. The pricing on the Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT is $4,600, and hopefully we'll see it in stores soon so more people can check it out. Now, speaking of divers, Zenith also came out with a new Defy Revival diver and a new Defy Extreme diver. And normally I love watches in the 37 to 39mm case, so I should love the Defy Revival, but honestly, I really love the Defy Extreme diver. It's 42.5mm. It has like these stark orange pop-up color with black or blue dial, and it uses the same bracelet system as the Defy Skyline. So you could take the rubber strap from the Defy Skyline and put it on the Defy Extreme diver. Each of these Defy Extreme divers come in 3 bracelets. It's in titanium bracelet, a rubber strap, or a recycled NATO strap. And some cool features on this is it has 600 meters of water resistance. It says 1969 feet for the year 1969 diver, and it has blue and green lume. And the bezel is cool too. It has indents at every 5 minutes for easy grip, and it has an El Primero 3620 movement inside. It's priced at $11,300. That should be coming later this year as well, hopefully. Can't wait to see that in my store at Karen & Co. Now, another brand that I don't have but I thought was really impressive, again, with the notion if a brand does something brand new, it really tends to stand out, is the, I'm gonna butcher this, the Lange Söhne datograph perpetual tourbillon honey gold lumen. Zoe said it better from Watch Girl Off Duty.
I'm most excited to see the Lange Söhne datograph, perpetual calendar, chronograph, tourbillon, lumen, honey gold.
I didn't get hands-on with this watch, but I got to stop by the Lange booth, and this was the main feature they had. Honestly, it's really impressive that Lange was able to put all those complications into this watch. Not only that, but use the honey gold case, which is their own proprietary rose gold, put a flyback chronograph, all of their like best complications they put. Big date, tourbillon with stop seconds, perpetual calendar, moon phase, lumen dial, which is something they do exceptionally well, and they put it in a 41.5mm case, and it's 14.6mm thick. That is such good proportions. Just to put it into perspective, Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch Professional, like the new white dial that I love, that's 42mm with a 13.6mm thickness. So this Lange datograph perpetual tourbillon honey gold lumen is only 1mm thicker than the Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch. Just think about that. That proportion would fit really well on the wrist. Obviously, with a brand like Lange, this price point is over $500,000. It's $620,000 in US dollars and is limited to 50 pieces worldwide. I would have loved to seen this up close, but that was such a cool thing that they did this year. And now I'm going to talk a lot about Cartier. So just to forewarn you, Cartier all the way pretty much from here on out. But Cartier did such a great job this year. First off, Cartier has their own Cartier watch community that you can follow on Instagram, and they amplify certain voices of collectors and other retailers that talk about Cartier really passionately. They were the only brand that took the community and brought it with them and used their voices together in a collaborative way that was still authentic. And I thought that was really smart of them. On top of that, Cartier hit like every customer base. People who are new to watches. Let's say you like the Cartier Santos medium that I wear, like the white dial, but you want a new dial color. Well, they came out with a new brown dial this year, and they came out with a new dual time complication for the Santos. So that's going to satisfy people who are either new to the brand or have already a Santos. They also satisfied the women collectors. Like out of all the brands, I think they did ladies watches the best. You see the new Cartier Reflection, which is a high jewelry watch, a new Benoit in a small size, the Tank Louis Mini Cartier, which my sister Tiffany tried it on. That's one of her favorite watches of the show, as well as the Tank American Mini. So they brought like these iconic case shapes and they put them in new sizes, and it was a lot of gold, but I think I saw a lot of women were really happy and excited about their releases. Cartier is a master of watch cases and shapes, but they're also masters of complications. So they also brought the Privé collection. So this is something for hardcore Cartier collectors. Things like the Santos-Dumont Rewind, which I'm going to talk about in a second, as well as the Tortue and the Tortue Monopusher. So let's first talk about Santos' new medium and large brown dial. It's a one-shot collection, meaning it won't join the regular lineup. Cartier did not say how many they're going to produce of this, so it's not really a limited edition, more like a limited run. So that means once they sell out, it's going to be discontinued. It's the same price as the Santos medium, so $7,050 at the time of this video, and for the large one is $77.50, same as the large dial. It's available now, April 2024. I can't wait to get these in store, and if you're excited about these, stop by so I can show you them in person. The Santos-Dumont had several versions in precious metals with lacquer dials and Arabic numerals, but my favorite was the Santos-Dumont Rewind. So a lot of people thought this watch was fun because it tells time backwards or counterclockwise. So everyone's like, okay, it's a cool watch. Cartier came out with a watch that tells time backwards, but it's not really practical because it's going to take you how many seconds to really figure out what time it is. So I understand the practical part of that, but what I love about this watch is it combines some of my favorite watchmaking stories into one. So one of the things to mention, I made a short video on this too, is Cartier uses the Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 1V, which is also 4. And the whole reason for this is that it's a watchmaker's 4. It creates balance on the dial on both sides. And so that's why a lot of watchmakers will still use it, because it's the most aesthetically pleasing. Now, that's one thing I love about this watch and a lot of Cartier watches. But the other thing is the fact that it tells time backwards is actually like an Easter egg. So the whole reason why watches tell time clockwise is because time was first recorded in the northern hemisphere. So basically, time was recorded based on the sundial. If you use a sundial in the northern hemisphere, as the sun goes from east to west, the shadow that's cast on the gnomon will go in a clockwise direction. And that's why our watches and clocks all do clockwise. That's really cool, right? But if time was first recorded in the southern hemisphere and you use a sundial there, then the shadow would be cast what we know as counterclockwise, and that would be completely normal. So now think about this. The Santos-Dumont Rewind is based on the Brazilian aviator Alberto Santos-Dumont. Brazil is located in the southern hemisphere. So this rewind imagines time if we first started recording time from the southern hemisphere based on Alberto Santos-Dumont's aviation adventures. On top of that, the dial on this is what's called carnelian dial. It's a red-brown stone that comes from Brazil. So I find that there's so many like cool Easter eggs on this watch. And Cartier also created a new movement for this watch called the 230 MC. It's basically the same idea as the manual winding movement from the caliber 430 MC, which they use in like the yellow gold lacquer they did a few years ago. The rewind is in platinum. It's in the large Santos-Dumont case, which fits really well, fits kind of a little bit bigger than the Santos medium, and it's priced at $38,400, limited to 200 pieces worldwide, coming June 2024. That's probably one of my favorite watches of the show, just because of all the little Easter eggs. And when you sit down and think about it, not only is it fun, but it does so much with it. And I forgot to mention, it has beautiful brigade hands as well. And just a side note, I think in terms of like a lot of brands, when they do gold, I think Cartier does gold pricing really well. So for example, if you wanted a full gold watch, you could go to Piaget and buy the Polo 79 for $73,000 or the Vacheron 222 for $74,000, which is a lot of money. But if you go to Cartier, you could buy the Santos medium in all yellow gold for $32,200, which is less than half of both of those watches. To be fair to Piaget and Vacheron, the Santos medium wouldn't have the same prestige, but you still get a full yellow gold watch, and it's still a lot of money, but when you put it in comparison like that, it just sounds a lot more reasonable, wouldn't you agree? Cartier also introduced the large Panther in yellow gold coming September 2024, which surprisingly fit me really well, and if you want an all yellow gold watch, this could be a strong contender. Keep in mind that this Panther large in gold is quartz movement, priced at $30,000. So if you want automatic, the Santos medium in all yellow gold goes for $32,200, and that's still an automatic. Real quick, I do want to talk about Vacheron because they did come out with the new rose gold and green dial overseas, which is cool. It's a new colorway. My sister Melissa really liked the 35mm with diamonds in that colorway because she likes the green and gold together. It's really attractive, and I think it's a great job. They also introduced one of the most complicated pocket watches, which basically looks like a hockey puck. But if I had to choose one Watches and Wonders release that really caught my attention, it is the Cartier Tortue Monopusher in yellow gold. They came out with two versions, platinum or yellow gold. They're both priced over $50,000, but for me, yellow gold all the way. Personally, it's because because I've been craving a yellow gold watch, which is I think why I'm talking about so much about gold this video. And the inspiration for the Tortue Monopusher in 2024 is based on the original 1928 version. That version displays blue brigade hands, 4 triangular ornaments in the corners, and a circular hours and minutes track instead of filling the hours in the shape of the Tortue like the time-only version. And keep in mind, this Tortue Monopusher, the way it works is that the crown operates the chronograph. The chronograph can count up to 30 minutes. With the crown, you can start, stop, and restart. That's the only order of events you can do. So you can't start and stop and then start where you just were recording. You can only restart. That's something on all Monopusher chronographs, but of course you'll see it here as well. Now, if you didn't know, Tortue translates to turtle or tortoise, which is where this curved case shape comes from. And the new thing about this is the movement is brand new for this watch. The movement now fills up the entire case shape of the Tortue, and it has a different finishing with Geneva stripes. The only thing is, I didn't actually get to try on the Tortue Monopusher or the Santos-Dumont Rewind. I did get to try on the Tortue time only, so the Monopusher is just 2 millimeters larger than that, so it gave me a good sense of it. But it kind of bummed me out because I really love what Cartier was doing. I had multiple appointments with Cartier, both as a retailer and as a content creator, and I still didn't get to see the Tortue Monopusher or the Santos-Dumont Rewind. Meanwhile, I saw many different influencers and content creators come to the show, and they got 30 minutes hands-on with the watches. And Cartier would tell me, oh, we can't get it for you to see it now because we only have one at the whole show. So I would ask to be invited to these content creator meetings, and I couldn't get a meeting in. So that was one thing where I was really bummed out I didn't get to see it and have hands-on with it. And so yeah, that's basically all my favorite watches from the show. But let me just talk about the show as a whole and all the people I got to see. After 3 days of being at the show and just staring at watches, I realized that on my last day at the show, I didn't really get to talk to the people that really make the show what it is. So on my last day, I decided to I'm not going to look at any watches. I'm just going to go up to people that I enjoy looking at their content or I'm friends with, and I just want to talk to them and ask them what's their favorite thing. And that's why I did all those short videos. The first person I actually interviewed was Dinar, who's Mr. Watches on TikTok, who is wearing the jacket full of watches. Him and I already talked about meeting up at the show. So when I was there, he was like, where are you at right now? I was sitting eating lunch, so he came over and we got to chat and meet each other for the first time. But it's funny because we feel like we all know each other because we've been talking to each other online for years. And now it's the first time at Watches and Wonders at Geneva, the largest show, that we get to sit down and talk together. The second person I interviewed was actually Teddy. So right after my Grand Seiko appointment, I was sitting outside of Zenith getting ready for their cocktail hour. I was just editing some photos and I was buried in work, just editing. And then someone comes up to me and he's like, hey dude. And I look up and I'm like, my face just light up because oh my God, it's Teddy. Teddy and I've met before on other trips, but he's definitely my favorite content creator when it comes to long form. Everything I said in that short video with Teddy, I 100% mean with my heart. Teddy is my favorite creator. He's the standard. I think he has the best content for long form. He's professional. He's amazing. He's so genuine and so nice. And in person, he's like that too. So I was really surprised when I got to just sit down and chat with him. I almost didn't even care to ask him what his favorite watch was. I was just like, hey man, how are you? How's your new shop? And just talk casually. And he was down to film. That was literally less than a 10-minute interaction we had. We were just sitting down chatting and catching up. And I was really surprised with his super nice comment to me.
I love your work too, man. You do a great job. I think your short content is the best in the biz.
Oh, damn. Thank you so much. You heard that. You heard that here first.
I was really taken aback when he said that. And honestly, it means so much to come from my favorite creator and someone that I look up to, and someone I'm happy to call a friend in the industry as well. I also got to see Mike Nouveau. He's been killing it on TikTok. He's been doing a lot of great stuff, having a lot of fun with watches and getting a lot of cool behind the scenes. So go check him out as well. Marco from Swiss Watch Gang, Zoe from Watch Girl Off Duty. I even got to meet Ken from Deluxe, Ken and his wife Pei, which was such an awesome meeting because him and I talk all the time online. We've been video chatted before, but we've never saw each other face to face. And there's a running joke that people think that Ken and I are the same person because we're both Asian, we're both about the same height, we both talk about deluxe and watches. So that was really funny to just finally get face to face to talk with him. Yeah, there was just so many creators I was just happy to meet up with and talk with. And that's what made the show so much fun for me. The one thing that I wish at the show that didn't happen is I wish that Swatch Group was at the show. So brands like Omega, Longines, Breguet, Blancpain, Glashütte Original. I wish they were at the show because ever since Baselworld disbanded in like 2018, Swatch Group started doing their own show with Swatch Group Time to Move. They did that for 1 year, and then after that, the pandemic happened, and then they started doing more localized shows. From the perspective of both a retailer and a customer, like someone who likes those watches and wants to buy them for myself, I feel like a lot of their releases are starting to get lost in the noise, because at Watches and Wonders, every brand is trying to get attention, put out their new release, and if you're not at this show, it's really hard to remember what happened. And if Omega was at the show, I would definitely be talking more about the White Dial Speedmaster, or their new Constellation with their meteorite dials, or even their new Aquaterra 38mm in the green dial. But it kind of gets lost. I only got to see them a few days before Watches and Wonders. They're just missing out on people talking about the brand. And I know for these groups, it's not cheap to have a big booth there, because the brands put like millions of dollars to build these build outs for 1 week, and it's a huge marketing event. It's a huge event to bring everyone together. It's a lot of money, but at the same time, I think it's almost necessary for a lot of brands to do it. But yeah, that's my video for Watches and Wonders 2024. Another great year. It gave me so much energy. It revived my passion for watches. The conversation of all boutique only last year kind of died down this year. I didn't really hear it that much. I think brands realized that going boutique only all around the world is not really a long-term strategy for a lot of brands. So I'm glad that I did not hear a single conversation about that this year. A lot of brands that were talking about it last year completely 180'd, and they didn't even mention it this year, as if it never happened. But I remember.
I remember everything.
And if you want to see some of my fun interviews with people, check out my whole playlist here of short videos I did with all the people I mentioned if you missed it. And I'll catch you soon. It's been a minute. I'll see you next time. Bye.